Now it's time to learn how to handle pagination with Scrapy. Handling pagination on Scrapy is easier than on Selenium or on Beautiful Soup. I'm going to prove this to you scraping this Audible website we previously scraped with Selenium. First, we'll scrape one page and then we'll scrape all the pages listed. In the end of this section, you'll see the difference between Scrapy and Selenium in terms of speed and complexity of the script. Okay, now it's time to create a new spider. So open up a terminal and write Scrapy gen spider, and I'm gonna name this spider Audible. Now I'm gonna copy the link of the website, and I'm going back to the terminal and I'm gonna paste this website. I'm going to press enter to run this command, and we get the message that a spider Audible was created using the template basic. Now, as you can see, I created this spider in the spider tutorial folder, which is also the name of my project. Now, I'm going to show you this on PyCharm, and here on my spiders, it's the Wordometer spider we created before, and also the Audible spider we just created. Now I double click on the Audible spider, and now I'm going to get rid of /search inside allowed domains because we only want the homepage in allowed domains. Next, we're going to add the S of security in the HTTP protocol. Everything is ready to start scraping this website. As a reminder, the name of the spider should be unique. In allowed domains, we should only write the root of the website or the main page. And in start URLs, we have to write the actual website we want to scrape. Let's go to the website to locate some elements. So here, as you might remember, in this website, there are many audiobooks listed. So we're going to inspect to locate the audiobooks. Now we have the developer tools opened, and I'm going to inspect an element that contains all the audiobooks listed in the website. I'm going to inspect this first audiobook listed, and now I'm going to scroll up a little bit to find the parent or grandparent. So maybe I find the element that contains all the audiobooks listed. I keep scrolling up and I found something. So each audiobook is inside an li element. As you can see here, it's inside the first li element, and all of them are inside the div element, which has a class name advl impression container. So this contains all the audiobooks listed, and it's the first element I'm going to locate with Scrapy. First, I'm going to build an XPath to find this element. So I'm going to copy this class name, and now I'm going to press Ctrl F to create a new XPath. So I paste here the class name, and now I'm going to add quotes to build my XPath. Then I'm going to write class equal to, and I add the @ sign, and then I'm going to put this inside square brackets. And outside I write div and /. With this, the XPath is finished and the element was matched, and it's highlighted in green. So as you can see, we located the element that contains all the audiobooks listed. Now let's locate each of the audiobook listed. So we add /li to get the immediate elite child nodes of the div element. Now, as you can see on the right, 20 elements were matched. Each of them corresponds to one audiobook. So I'm going to navigate. This is the first, the second, the third, the fourth, and so on. So it seems our XPath was successfully created. Now let's go back to PyCharm to write this in some code. So first I delete path, and now I write response.xpath and open parentheses. And inside parentheses, I'm going to paste this XPath we just created. Now I'm going to set this equal to, and I'm going to create a variable named product_container. This represents the element that contains all the audiobooks listed on the page. Also remember that this new variable is a list because it contains 20 elements. Now back to PyCharm, and we're going to loop through this list. So we write for product in product underscore container and then write colon. Now here we're going to get the author, the title of the book, and the length. To build the XPath of these three new elements, we're going to use the contains function. So we have to find a meaningful word inside the class name. So here in the title, we can use the bc-heading, since heading is another word for title. Now let's inspect the author's name to find a useful word to build the XPath. So here we don't have anything useful in this element, and above we can see that there is inside the class name an author label. So we can use this author label to build the XPath using the contains function. And below the author label, it's the runtime label, which will be useful to locate the length of the audiobook. Now let's go back to PyCharm to build this XPath. So I write product.xpath parentheses, and I'm going to copy this XPath we wrote before to help us write this new XPath. I write dot to consider the product node context. So I copy this, and now I'm going to paste it here. So now I'm going to delete the class name and the attribute value, and I'm going to write contains and I add parentheses. So inside the parentheses, I change the equal sign with comma. Now I add space, and basically this is the syntax of the XPath. Now back to the browser, and I'm going to copy the author label. So this author label is inside a class name, and this is inside an li tag. So now back to PyCharm, and now instead of div, I'm going to write li, and inside contains, I'm going to write add class and then comma, and inside quotes author label. So we use the li tag, the class name, and the author label attribute name. We can verify here that it's correct what we used. And now I'm going to copy the class name value, and I'm going to paste it here just to show you that you can use this to build the XPath. But here I just prefer to use the contains function, but you can use this inside quotes and build the XPath as we usually do. So now I'm going to delete that. Now let's go back to the browser to build the XPath that will return the text. So here we have this li element, and below there is an span element, and below that one there is an a element, and this a element contains the text that we want to extract. So here you can see the name of the author. This is the text that we want to extract, just the author's name. So we have to follow that sequence. First the span, then a, and then text. So we're going to write that here in the XPath. So I write slash and then write span, then another slash to get the immediate child element, and write a, and then slash text with parentheses. Note that I'm using here single slash because I want to get the immediate child nodes. Also, these extra words we wrote for this XPath are necessary only on Scrapy, because remember that when we scraped this website on Selenium, it was enough just the initial XPath we built before it. But since we want to get the text, we have to follow this sequence until we get to slash text parentheses, and then write dot get all to get all these elements. Now I'm going to set this to a variable named book underscore author. Now I'm going to copy and paste this on the XPath we built on the browser, and I'm going to delete the last slash. And as you can see, 24 elements matched. Now we got 24 and not 20 because some books have more than one author. Now back to PyCharm, and now I'm going to duplicate this line of code to create also the other variables. So first let's check the length of the books. So here in the browser, if I open an li element, we can see that we have a runtime label. And as I mentioned before, we're going to use this element to locate the runtime. So back to PyCharm, and now I duplicate this line of code and create a new variable named book_length. And here inside the XPath, I'm going to use this runtime label. So I copy this, and now I'm gonna paste it in the XPath. So back to PyCharm, and I'm gonna paste it here instead of author label. So here's the class name, and now I'm going to delete this and I'm gonna leave runtime label. So now back to the browser, and to get to the text, we only have a span element in the middle. So we have to write /span/text in parentheses. And instead of get all, I'm just going to use get. Remember that we needed get all for authors because a book can have more than one author. But we don't need this for the runtime, so only that get. I'm also gonna add the single slash that is missing. Now back to the browser to locate the title. So I click on inspect and then inspect the title. In here, as you might remember, we're going to locate this title with the BC-heading. So it's right here, and now I'm gonna copy the class name. So this BC heading is inside an H3 tag. Remember this when we build the XPath. So I copy only BC-heading, and now back to PyCharm. So I duplicate this element, and now I'm gonna name it book_title, and I'm gonna change the attribute value. So I paste BC-heading. Also, instead of li, now we have to write H3 because that's the tag that contains the BC-heading. And to get to the text, we only have the A element in the middle. So we write /A/text parentheses. And we replace again, instead of get all, we write just that get. Now it's time to yield the data we just located. So we write yield, open curly braces, and inside this we write the first key. So it's title inside quotes, then colon, and I'm gonna copy this book_title, then comma, and I'm gonna duplicate this twice. So in the second, I'm gonna write author, copy the book_author and paste it. And the last one is gonna be length in colon and then book_length. And that's it. Now open up a terminal to extract this data. So I open the terminal, and now I'm gonna clear this up, and I'm gonna write the following command: scrapy crawl, and then the name of the spider, so audible. Then I press enter, and this is gonna take a couple of seconds, and now it's finished. And now I scroll up to see the results, and as we can see, the data was successfully scraped. So we can see the title, the author, and the runtime or length. So for example, this one, the title is American Marxism, and the author Mark R. Levin. So I'm going to clear this up, and I'm going to store this inside a CSV file. So I add -o, and then I write the name of this CSV file I'm gonna create. So I'm gonna name it audible_onepage.csv, and then I press enter to run this command. So then we wait till this is finished. And now that it's finished, we go back to PyCharm, and I'm gonna open the file we just created. So I open this audible_onepage CSV, and you can see here the results in a better format. So let's verify. The first is American Marxism, and it's also here listed with the same author and the same title. And that's it. We just scraped the first page of this Audible website. In the next video, we're going to scrape all the pages available.